Hello again, it's Noob, and for this video I'd like to do something a bit different and hopefully really interesting. I want this to be an inspirational video. What video am I going to do? Well, this roll case contains all of the lock picks that Tipene from New Zealand, my friend and pick maker extraordinaire, has sent me over the last couple of years. Now, you may remember Tipene from a few videos where I started to look at making, well, between us we made the Boomslang, the Tipene and the Viper picks, of which the Boomslang, of course, is now the Medusa. So Tipene and I have been friends for a long time. He sent me quite a number of picks as part of trades and gifts over the years, and I would like to share them with you now. What I don't want you to do is think that this is just me showing off my pick collection, although of course there's an element of that. When I say I want this to be inspirational, I really mean it. I want people to think, I've never made a pick before. I can start, my journey at any sort of point, and I can, go on from, just like Tipene has, real attention to detail and great workmanship to beautiful, beautiful craftsmanship. And if you are a pick maker, you could be anywhere on this journey, and you may be inspired to make a new pick or a new profile, or even try new techniques that you've not tried before. And what I want to show off here is those techniques, all the kind of techniques, the materials, the handle types, because I think that the pick selection that Tipene has sent me over the years really spans a huge range of material and handle types. It really is an inspiration, at least to me, and I hope you find it so too. So without further ado, let's start the journey. These are roughly in date order. So let's start the journey all the way back, and I don't think Tipene or I can quite remember whether these were his first or his second ever picks that he made. I hazard his second picks. And he sent me these when he first started watching my channel as just a thank you, just a nice gift. And I've had them ever since. And you can already see attention to detail and beautiful workmanship on these. Really nice finish. What are they made of? Just simple car wiper blade insert. Stainless steel car wiper blade insert. And you can see how all the lengths are matched. And this is just shrink wrap tubing on the handles, and these are a Bogota set for raking. Soon after, Tipene started, instead of using wiper blade inserts, started using feeler gauge stock in various thicknesses. Usually you'd use something around probably 18 thousandths of an inch, 25 thousandths of an inch, and a lot of these are 20 thousandths of an inch. And he sent me a gem because he knew I like gem profiles. Again, beautiful workmanship, great finish on this. But you can see here that to make the handles more comfortable and thicker, you can see rounded off wiper blade insert, just cut to size and shrink wrapped either side of the pick. Same for this, what looks like a number 1 profile hook, and this was sent a bit of time afterwards, but again, really, really nice, and still using that shrink wrap handle. However, so we're using feeler gauge stock now, but Tipene wasn't happy with just using shrink wrap and wiper blade inserts. No. Tipene started to experiment with other material types, starting with metal, and this is a beautiful brass handle. This used to be shiny, but I've let it tarnish. It's very easy to polish it up, but I actually like this patina. And this is one of my probably the most used picks that Tipene sent me. And I do use them, I just use them for special occasions, good challenge lots, those kind of things. This is a gem profile, again in feeler gauge stock, but with now a JB weld, which is a type of very strong epoxy welded plate brass. And isn't that a beautiful pick? It's a bit heavy on the handle, but it's a lovely, lovely pick. Really nice thickness here and very strong. But Tipene didn't stop there. Despite me never seeing anything like it, he started to make some aluminium handle picks. I really like these. I think they look fabulous, and they're actually surprisingly light in the hand. Again, you can see the JB weld. But moving on from the wiper blade and feeler gauge stock, this one is made of 301 max yield steel, which has allowed a much thinner profile. to be used, and this is a Euro hook, and you can see again that beautiful workmanship just continuing on, maturing over time. Lovely handles on these. Then Tipene started working in woods, and these two came sort of one after the other in a way. And what you can see here is again back to feeler gauge stock, and this is a gorgeous bamboo ply. I think this is the Tron profile. Really, really lovely. And again, you can see here just the finish and the shine and overall workmanship. Moving on again, spruce ply. Not sticking with just one thing. Experimenting, moving on. Exactly how I'd encourage anybody to give this a go. Don't think, oh, I need to just make handles out of this or use this material. No, experiment, try. You never know what works. And all of these things have worked with Tipene. And you see here a slightly deeper hook, an Attila style hook, I think, and this is really, really nice. A bit thick using this modelling shop birch ply, but still a wonderful pick. And then something happened. I don't know. It's sort of like a quantum leap effect. Tipene then started just moving further and further afield and making more and more beautiful picks out of more and more exotic materials. And you can see an example of that here. This is a rare Slimline Boomslang made out of, and I can tell what it's made out of because you can see little notches here. This is Peterson government steel scrap, and it's very strong and very beautiful. I do remember Tipene saying that although he did make a couple more, that he would never work with carbon fibre again, because even though these carbon fibre scales are very thin, there's very, very little give in this entire handle. I mean, it's hard to describe, but it is solid. Lovely pick to hold though. It's got kind of warmth to it. It's light, very strong. But Tipene had to wear a mask and be careful of any fibres floating around when he made this. But I absolutely adore this pick. Don't know many pick handles made out of carbon fibre, but again, you can see how we've gone from simple shrink wrap tubing to metals to plies to almost high-tech materials now. But more recently, Tipene's been making true craftsman style picks and using native woods. And like I said, he's from New Zealand, and just look at this that he sent me. This is made of river rimu, which I believe is like a saturated bogwood, which is kiln dried, and it's extremely hard, but it's extremely light. And you see how this is made, I believe, out of the Max Yield 301 stock. But Tipene started to shape the handles, not just keep it to a simple profile, and then more ergonomic and beautiful. And this is a full tang pick, epoxy, with both sides of the handle epoxied on. But this is a Lunatic Ball, I believe, is what we call it. But just look, there's not a single flaw in any of that metal at all. Just gorgeous. And last but not least, and hey, Tipene, if you're listening, hopefully not the last one you ever send me, but this is an African hardwood. I don't think we know exactly what it is. Boomslang, which was sent to me by Tipene as an extremely kind gift. And you can see that this is not only extraordinary craftsmanship now, what a journey in a couple of years from still beautifully worked stainless steel wiper blade stock all the way through to using, again, almost full circle, still some feeler gauge stock. But just look at the craftsmanship now. We're pinning partial tang here in pick itself. We've got ergonomic, beautifully rounded hardwoods, and I hope you agree that this is a superb pick and up there with the best that I've ever seen on the internet at the very least. So there we go. I really hope you found that an interesting journey, and this actually spans is the highlights of a now renowned pick maker in his field. Over 2 years, moving through different materials, easier to get kind of feeler gauge stock and wiper blades, through to more exotic things like 301 cold rolled steel and Peterson government steel scraps. But they're not being tied down to thinking that you have to stay with a particular thing. And for me, it's been wonderful just watching Tipene's picks and skills mature over time, and genuinely start to generate some of the best picks I've ever seen made by a pick maker. So please be inspired by that. Please think to yourself, do you know what? I really want to get into pick making. And think to yourself, you know what? There's so many choices of materials and handles out there. Don't be tied down to a single one. Find out what works for you. Experiment. Create beautiful profiles, and just enjoy it. And by the way, it's worth saying that Tipene still likes to hand file all his picks. He doesn't like to use a machine or a grinder. And that, to me, well, that says it all. And I'll see you next time.